In the small town of Mineola sits one of the most haunted houses in Texas, the O.P. Pyle House. Built in 1903, it has provided many paranormal investigators with evidence that it contains a force to be reckoned with. But who is this force? Some believe it to be the ghost of Sergeant J.H. Randall, an evil man who abused prisoners that worked on the railroads back in the 1870s. Others believe it to be different spirits. Another theory that stands out is that of the Rotten One, an entity so evil that it evades detection by pretending to be something else, such as the Boss Man. But which theory is correct? To get to the bottom of this mystery, we must examine each theory in detail, starting with the legend of the Boss Man.
The origin of Boss Man comes about, and it is Boss Man, that's the way I hear it. J.H. Randall was the boss man, or warden, if you will, over the convict leasing program that was going on here in Wood County. He oversaw approximately 80 inmates in his camp here in Wood County. Have I ever had any paranormal experiences with the Boss Man, or do I know anyone who has? I have not had any personal experiences that are paranormal, but I do know of others that have, and we have spoken. The type of experiences that these people have told me about the Boss Man, what they tell me is that they have actually seen him, his spirit, in the corner of a room, and that he's very angry, and that he's not a very nice entity, not very nice at all. And I would agree with that, because the type of person that he was in real life, it wasn't good. The way he treated prisoners was not good.
Sergeant Randall, known among railroad prisoners, did not discriminate when it came to his abusive ways. He showed no respect toward women and was known for beating them. Prisoners that came to him were dealt harshly and were often beaten for asking for water. Charged with abuse and murder, he was put on trial in 1879 in Mineola. The evidence eventually proved just the abuse, and he was let go from employment. Eventually, many people heard about what Sergeant Randall had done. Many in the area did not support the leasing of prisoners nor the abuse. How is Sergeant Randall connected to the O.P. Pyle House? Some believe that he lived in a cottage behind the house during this time. Because of this, it is believed that he is the one who haunts the grounds. In reality, he was stationed at Lake Fork, 30 miles from the O.P. Pyle House, and lived in the Lake Fork camp. The construction of the house didn't start until 1903 by politician Owen Pinckney Pyle. Even though it is highly unlikely that Randall lived on the grounds, was there some other way that he could have made it to the area?
As far as the Sergeant Randall, or AKA Boss Man, we did some research. My wife did a newspaper article, and it speaks of how we had the inmate Lend Lease here, and this man was in charge. He had virtually no one to actually answer to in authority. The nearest authority was probably in Austin or Huntsville, and so he ran his operation as he saw fit with absolutely no supervision to speak of. He could be brutal. He could be neglectful if he wanted to be. There was no consequences for any of those decisions he would make. He was seen and observed by his subordinates, which was a young 17-year-old boy, of actually putting hands on the offenders and physically assaulting them. He would also ignore if they were sick and out on a work site. Say it was in the wintertime, they had chills, he would ignore them, say you got to continue working and finish the day with it. And oftentimes some of these people had unfortunately passed away the following day or in a few days later. Finally people started calling, and I think there was also some local angst because they felt that the Offender Lease Act here was interfering with local employment. There were locals that felt that they weren't getting the employment opportunities thanks to this operation. So he argued this when they were questioning his actions and things that took place. But as far as the Sergeant Randall, what I think, this is my synopsis, is that my understanding, this area was not a well, upright. It was just kind of an area that was ill repute, I guess a good way of putting it. And he may have frequented over here and took part in, say, drinking, and maybe there was a bordello in this area that he took part in nearby. But that would be my theory, is that he probably came over here and he had his leisure time over here with the carnal things that people did back in those days.
If J.H. Randall is not the one haunting the O.P. Pyle House, then who is? Could it be other spirits, or could it be the one known as the Rotten One? To find out, several people came forward to share their experiences.
Some milder experiences I've had would be seeing full-bodied apparitions. I've seen a kitchen maid pass by the doorway here from the dining room, and while I was playing jazz music at night, I saw her walk quickly by.
The house contains many spirits that haunt the property. Are any of them trying to help? Is one of them trying to cause chaos?
I was waiting out for my mother in the driveway, and I was just standing there looking around, and my mother was wearing white that day, but I didn't know really where she was. Well, I looked over to the property next to us in the garden, and I saw a woman in white. Quickly, she was standing facing me, and she quickly turned and ran behind the bushes, and I went chasing after her. And there was no one there.
Is it possible that the woman in white was trying to warn her, or was the spirit simply roaming the grounds?
I've seen a figure of a shadow in my bedroom, briefly. Of course, we've all smelt cherry tobacco smoke, honey bacon, old Pond's lotion, those sorts of things.
Why would the spirits create the different odors that she smelled? Were they trying to keep her there because they felt lonely, or was it for a more sinister reason?
One time, I was upstairs taking my shower. We were having a lot of renovations at that time, so we did not have a blind over the window, and the only light that I was utilizing was the street light. So there I was taking a shower in the dark because the window's right in front of the shower. And so I had both my hands on each side of my head, and I felt a third hand reach across the back of my head. And I was cussing like a sailor, absolutely, and quickly jumped out and ran to my parents. Did you just hear what happened? Did you hear me screaming? No, they did not, but that definitely was the most extreme experience I've had in this house.
Was the entity just curious, or was it out for something else? Whether it's the boss man himself or the rotten one has to take as many safety precautions as possible.
My name is Roxy, and I've been a paranormal investigator for the O.P. Pyle House for 6 years now. On one of our investigations here at the O.P. Pyle House, we were in the piano room, and I kind of glanced out the window, and I seen somebody staring back at us in the window. There was nobody outside, but you could see like just the head of the person staring at us in the window. During an investigation, it just kind of startles you when you see somebody outside staring back in the window at you. I just kind of had to take a step back and to regroup myself. We've had several experiences here at the O.P. Pyle House. There was another night that we was upstairs in the Bellevue, and the window, they've got a little small window up there. The small window, it just opened. Nobody opened it. It just pushed itself open. It only opened like an inch that night. But when we tried to close it, but we couldn't close it. It was like somebody was like holding on to it, not letting us close it down. And then there was another time on the property in the behind the main house that we did another investigation, and we ended up staying the night there. It was a night that, you know, if you wanted to stay the night there, that you could stay the night there. And me and a friend of mine were sleeping on an airbed. Well, between around 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning, she starts screaming, and she's being pulled off. You couldn't see nobody, but you could see somebody like pulling on her legs, pulling her off the airbed. And I tried to grab hold of her arms to pull her back on the airbed, and I couldn't. I was not strong enough to break whoever was on the other end. But after we yelled at them to stop, it stopped, and she was, you know, set free.
In life, the boss man was known to lie and trick people into doing his bidding. The rotten one seems to be no different. Whether it's the boss man or something else, was the entity toying with their responses, or was it another spirit trying to help them?
My name is Heidi Hoke, and I'm one of the 2 proprietors here at the OP Pyle House. This house was in my family since 1972, when it had been abandoned for 10 years prior to that, and it was literally not habitable. There were squirrels nesting in the bathrooms and overturned cabinetry in the kitchen, and we couldn't even live in it. It was bought as a weekend home for renovation. Since then, Mom and Dad had renovated it, and in 2008, David and I took ownership of it as they retired. And since then, we've had quite a very colorful experience of paranormal activity here, all of which has been based and documented in historical record. We see orbs shooting across the rooms. We see partial body apparitions. Guests have seen full body apparitions of people that we have been able to identify as past residents.
Yeah, in the beginning, when there was a lot of restoration of the restoration going on, there was much more activity. We would hear footsteps running up the walls and over into the attics, and I was scratched on my leg, so it was initially somewhat threatening, but over time I think the spirits became comfortable or reconciled that we weren't throwing them out, and over time it's gone calmer or less threatening, but the activity, like Heidi said, is still very much there on a almost daily basis.
I think the activity is to the same degree, but less threatening, a little more subtle. The night that he got scratched was also a night that I was nursing a migraine headache, and I was down here on the sofa, and about 3 o'clock in the morning, it's always between 2 and 4 o'clock in the morning, I distinctly heard the sound of, it sounded to me like 4 hooves. They were hooves, run from the bottom of the floor to the top of the ceiling. Well, his sleeping area at that time that he was scratched was right above where the hooves were going toward. So that was a kind of a little bit coincidental that the hooves were up there about the same time of the night that he got scratched.
To unmask the paranormal issues that have surrounded the OP Pyle House, a preliminary investigation was performed.
This things keep coming off the wall. There it goes again. Are you mad that I keep touching your wall? Do you mind if I touch it again? Did that make you mad? I'm gonna go over here.
I'm gonna sit over here. You guys wanna come over here and talk to me? I got this little device over here. If you touch on it, it'll light up, okay? Alright. So, I heard you guys ransack this place up here. I wanted to know why. Did somebody make you mad? They did. Light up this little device for me. Alright. If they did make you mad, who was it that made you mad? What did they do?
You still want to talk? Come sit with me over here. I'm gonna sit this right here. The person I was talking to downstairs, are you here with me? Are you the one that meant me harm earlier?
What was the reason that you tried to attack someone up here earlier? Right? How many of you are there up here? Is there two? If so, you can light it up right here.
Are you the shadow woman I keep seeing running around downstairs? Okay. Are you trying to scare me? Light it up to yellow if you're trying to scare me. Okay. Do you mean me any harm? Light it up to yellow. Are you still here with me? Well, I guess not. Let's.
Are you guys over here? It's okay, you guys can come out and talk to me if you want to. You want to light this up, or if you want to talk to me on here and I can record you. You mean anybody harm up here? Would you like us to leave? Or do you want us to stay? If you want us to stay, you can light it up.
Are you standing right here next to me? Are you the shadow woman? Are you the man that... Are you the shadow woman? Light it up to yellow for me. If you... So you're the shadow woman. Light it up to yellow. Do you mean me any harm? Light it up to green. If you mean me harm, light it to green. Did I offend you? Light it to red.
Is there anyone over here? You guys want to come out and talk to me? If so, you can light this little red box up here.
When we arrived last night, immediately right off the bat, a shadow head appeared through the window, and when I looked at it, it pulled back. We went in and did a small investigation there, got some good activity and got some answers for it, and actually saw the shadow woman around the place a lot. She was standing in corners and all that, and she actually followed me upstairs later on when we did the investigation in the attic. What all did you feel?
Well, right after we got done in the attic, we were downstairs and we were heading outside to regroup, and I went to put up our equipment and I saw the chair moving, and I walked nowhere near that chair, and it just started rocking by itself. And then when I walked out thinking it was just nothing, and I walked back in and it was still doing the same thing when nobody was around there. And I really thought that was kind of a little crazy because I'd never seen that before.
That's the same room I kept seeing the shadow woman in. But I got a lot of good activity upstairs. I answered all my questions on the K2 meeting. But it's a nice house. There's something here.
After going over the evidence, it was determined that an entity is pretending to be something different. More paranormal investigators were called in to help unmask who the Rotten One is. Armed with names of suspected spirits, each investigator will keep evidence contamination to a minimum by going in one by one.
Wow, what an amazing home. I'm here investigating Mr. Thorp, also known as Mr. Thorp. I'm going to ask him about that very shortly. I would love to know how to pronounce his name correctly. This beautiful space was Mr. Thorp's office while he was alive. There's so many beautiful statues, so many figurines, so many curious objects that would definitely pull in something. Mr. Thorp, are you here? Are you in your office with us today? Mr. Thorp, are you attached to any of these awesome objects in this room? So I hear this is the infamous chair that you passed away in. Mr. Thorp, did you pass away in this chair? Light my K2 meter to yellow if you did indeed move on in this chair. Light it to red if this is just a story. Well, no. Oh, there we go. Did you want me to walk away? You do. Why don't you want to talk to me? Are you a very solemn man? Okay. I'm leaving now. Okay. Mr. Thorp, you're in here? Bye, and thanks for having me. Not, I'm gonna search for you through here. I was tasked with the investigation of Mr. E.A. Thorp, a prominent law practitioner who purchased the home after Pyle's death. I needed to find out if he was the presence haunting the home. I'm gonna get a thermal really quick.
66.6. My goodness. Mr. Thorp, I noticed this picture right here. Could this be you? Is this a portrait of you? Mr. Thorp, if you're here with me, could you light up my toy, please? Light it to yellow if this portrait is indeed you. I gotcha. It's Mr. O.P. Pyle himself. He built this home. I was just trying to trick you. You didn't fall for it. Quick. I noticed right away there is a feeling in this home. A feeling of history. A feeling of life itself. Almost as if the home's alive. It definitely is very, very lively, yet peaceful at the same time. Mr. Thorp, are you in this room? Tell me about the staircase. Mr. Thorp, do you often travel these stairs? Even in death? I'm going to take a thermal right here too. Let's try it right here. First up. 66.6. Ooh, that makes me nervous. Upon further investigation, I found myself in the kitchen, greeted by the family cats. Knowing that cats can see and hear things that we can't, I jokingly asked the cat if he knew Mr. Thorp. I'm going to go ahead, travel into the music room. There have been many, many disturbing reports from this room. So before I even enter, I would like to get a thermal or a few. I'm a little nervous. 66.6 to be expected. 66.6 again. Whew. So, I understand that there are mad, crazy energy happening in here. Noises, bangs, thumps, shuffling. Are you here, Mr. Thorp, in this very room? Are you in this music room? Tell me, are you alone in this room? No. If you're alone in this room, light my meter to yellow. Mr. Thorp, if you are with company, light my K2 meter to red. I'm going to go ahead and get a couple thermals here. I was getting quite a hit a moment ago. 66.6 again. Oh, okay. I gotta get out of here. There's too many heavy thermals in here. Oh. There certainly are some amazing things. Tell me, have you created any of the artwork that is in this home, Mr. Thorp? Is any of this your personal items? I saw a shadow to my left. I was freaked out, man, but I was so excited at the same time. I thought for sure that I had Mr. Thorp now. That's just a cat.
Right. Let's see. Been reading up on Mr. Jim Hogg. Quite the political figure. And I've heard from some people that he might be in this house. Mr. Jim Hogg, if you're here, please make this thing light up for me. And I'd like to know why you're here and what we can possibly do to help you. My investigation was on Mr. Jim Hogg. He was the first Texas native governor of Texas. I feel that he may have been haunting the house because he had a family there, and he might have been trying to protect them from any intruders trying to do the house harm. And so I decided to investigate and ask questions about his family, most importantly his daughter. But as soon as I walked in, I got a chill go up my spine, especially in the staircase area. Just massive presence like hit me in the face as soon as I opened the door. So I started walking around there because I didn't want to go up the stairs yet. And like I said, I had the chills real bad, and I felt something brush against my leg, and I got real freaked out. Looked down. Thank God it was just a cat. So I was like, whew. Now I can continue this investigation. Got that out the way. Whew. Just got a chill coming up here. Okay. Well, you made one hell of a speech on my birthday, April 19th, 1900. People are still talking about today. And I thought that was pretty interesting. Anything in here you can help me with in solving this mystery? What or who could be in this house? I'm not getting anything up here at all. I'm going to go back downstairs. But I seen something in here earlier also. And I'm just really trying to make sure that we don't have anything up here. Well, alright. Guess nothing up here. Jim Hogg, I feel that you are here in this house, and especially you lighting up the K2, and when I was talking about Ima, that leads me to believe that she may be still in this house, perhaps. But, you know, I don't think it's anything demented or demonic, because I haven't felt that presence in here from her or you. But I do feel that she's here. So that's one more piece to the puzzle anyway. Is there anything else that you want to give me a sign, give me any clues that might help this case here? I feel like you still want to tell me something. From what I hear, you're a neighbor of Pyle, and after he passed away, then you took this place over. Is that correct? And then you also moved your wife in here, and your children were right in this very house, walking this staircase, and everything else leads me to believe that you're still here. Why, I don't know. And okay, so you're making it light up in here, but not with your son. This is your son. So what is so special about this? Mr. Hogg, what can you tell me? I feel you in here, man. Well, not right this second, but just a couple minutes ago I felt you in here. Upon further investigation, I decided to take it upstairs. I had heard there was a lot of extreme activity upstairs, so I wanted to see what I could find out, see if we could get some evidence of some paranormal activity. So as soon as I hit the stairway, I got massive chills all up and down my spine once again. And I was getting really excited, thinking that I was going to catch something. I went through a couple rooms and asked a couple questions. Didn't really get much activity on my K2 meter or my temp meter at the time. I'd felt a presence in the room at the far end earlier in the day, so I decided to go check that room out. And once again, just didn't really get a whole lot, so I decided to go back downstairs, and evidently Jim Hogg was not affecting the upstairs region, but I could definitely sense him downstairs, so I figured I'd go back down there to see what else I could stir up. But for right now, I think you have helped me and determined that Ima is still here. And that definitely confirms that. And thank you for helping me. And I very much appreciate you letting me talk to you in this house. And I'm not going anywhere, so we can talk all night, and I would be more than happy to actually see you. If you can make yourself noticed and let me see your presence, that would be very, very great. And other than that, I can definitely say that Ima is still here, and she's with us in this house. So I decided to go back downstairs because that's where most of the activity that I was receiving was coming from. And as soon as I started walking down there, I got the chills again, massive presence felt. The K2 meter started lighting up like a Christmas tree in my hand when I brought up Ima, Jim Hogg's daughter. And I was freaking out, about to lose it, but trying to keep my cool. Ima is definitely a strong presence in that place. And as far as Jim Hogg goes, I'm convinced that he's definitely not the rotten one, if he's there in the house at all. Ima, his daughter, is most definitely a figure in that house, from my conclusion.
Okay, House. What are you gonna tell me? What are you gonna do wrong?
place definitely has a vibe to it. David Akins? Susan Pyle? I'm here to communicate with you. I mean you absolutely no harm. I'm here to connect with you and hear your voice. Maybe I can help you. So I'm going to start this device. Please feel free to use it. Come to me. Talk to me. Let me hear your story. Maybe we can figure out what's terrorizing the homeowner, Heidi. Is there anybody here with me who would like to connect? Yes. Susan, are you here? David, are you here? Careful. Why do I need to be careful? I heard that. Can you tell me why I need to be careful? When I came into the house felt totally peaceful and quiet. Walked up the stairs. I was immediately drawn to the belfry on the top. So I went up the stairs and the energy totally changed. It went from something really peaceful to kind of menacing. But so I immediately started a spirit box session, asked the resident spirits here that maybe they can help me determine what's here. Anyway, so got a few responses, whatever, but started walking around and went into a section of the room, and I started feeling nauseous. My stomach started to hurt, and my head started pounding. Is there something bad up here that I need to be worried about? There's a lot of antiques up here. A lot of tribal stuff. Is something attached to one of these items? David. I heard David. David, are you here? I think Susan's calling you out. I'm here. Thank you, David. Right here. Thank you, Susan. All right. Wow. How that happened. Especially if they're stretched out. All right. So I hear you. You want me to come in here into the meditation room? Oh my God, it's so heavy in there. I can't help. Is there something attached to one of these statues in here? Yes. So if I walk towards it and touch it, will you tell me? Is it this angel? gonna move down the line. Line, yes. What about this Egyptian statue? No. Native American? What about this one? David, I know you're all about protecting this house. Help me protect the house and tell me what's attached to what. What about this? No. What? As soon as I touch it, you tell me to stop. What was that? That was a pretty scary sound. David, is there something else up here with me right now? Yeah? Alright. What about this? Holy crap. During the spirit box session, I sat there. To the left of me, I heard something fall, so I decided to go and investigate what it was, and I found this little curly-Q metal object identical to something that was already on the wall. Somehow sprung off and fell. So I felt immediately drawn to this little hookah lounge area, and so I felt like I needed to investigate. So immediately I decided to go in and try to feel on the energies, asking the spirits if they could tell me if there were any attachments to these items. So I quickly put my hands on these items and one by one went through it. And I tell you what, something flew off the shelf. I don't even know where that went. Anyways. I'm feeling so dizzy. Oh, my head. My head hurts so bad. Really? So as I'm walking around the room, getting impressions, I'm putting my hands on all the artifacts in that specific room. This angel comes flying off the shelf and hits the floor. Very, very unusual. As soon as I pick it up, I felt very nauseous. My head started hurting. I kind of got a little dizzy. And I had to walk out the room. Upon me walking out the room, my head started banging really hard and I dropped to my knees, and then I heard this loud bang on the other side, and immediately I had to get up and go investigate it, and that's when I discovered that a water bottle, a full water bottle, had flown off the shelf and flew down the corridor of the belfry. So, I mean, it's pretty concerning of what is going on there. And I would like to find out more.
So, allegedly, there's an unmarked cemetery underneath my feet, allegedly. So, I'm going to ground. While I do this, see if it helps me pick anything up. But in addition to that, I'm also going to be using this proximity device, which is very, very sensitive. So, got this right around here. Let's see what happens. So, I have heard that there is possibly unmarked graves beneath me as I speak. If there are any spirits pertaining to that, or that may claim ownership of the alleged unmarked graves, step close to my device for me, please. Are there any spirits that may have seen a man walk around the perimeter of this property in order to keep it safe? Are you familiar with that same man, David Aiken? If so, make some noise on my device. Is he the one that walks around the property and keeps the land safe? All right, well, we are not out of the woods quite yet, because there's one more spot I want to check. I had decided to investigate the land itself, the grounds of the property, and normally I'm drawn to the outside area of these type of locations. However, oddly enough, I was drawn inside a lot more often this go round. However, I went ahead and got a proximity meter and set up shop in the front yard garden. And the investigation wasn't, I won't say it was an immediate success, but it led me to continue investigating. And that's exactly what I did, and made my next stop further down the property. I use this term loosely, tainted land. And one other spot over here that is still part of the property line that I've honestly just been drawn to ever since I got here, and have yet to go over there and check it out. So I'm going to take my proximity device and my bare feet. We're going to see if we can find any truth to the statement about the cemetery. This area right here is also another piece of the property. And of course, before we had roads and streets and all that jazz, it was all just connected. So, I need to find a flat surface. This right here might actually work. All right. Are there any spirits here that would wish to communicate with me tonight? If so, please make your presence known. Step near my device, please. Let me just clarify something that I have no intention to harm. I have no ill will. I am truthfully just trying to seek knowledge and understanding of this property. I mean you no harm. So I made it to the second section of the property, which was divided by a street, and there's a gazebo on the other side of this property. So now this was one area I had been drawn to from time to time during the time we were there, but I had never given it the moment to go do it, and this was prime time, so I went ahead and did my thing. Set up the proximity meter again. I asked questions. I asked questions pertaining to the alleged unmarked graves, possible spirits that were, in possession or owning of those graves that were unmarked. I even mentioned Aiken, the alleged man who walked the property to keep things safe. And still my investigation came up pretty much zilch at that point, but I had one more spot that I wanted to check out. Well, to be completely honest, I still feel drawn to the spot, and I don't really have an explanation for that. It just seems right that I be over here. But sometimes you don't get the answers you want, and that requires you to do a little bit more search and reconnaissance. So, we're not out of the woods yet, but we will see what is in store. Alright, this is my last spot. Just curious. Alright, so I've moved a little bit closer to the modern day property line, so to speak. Last round, ladies and gentlemen. Are there any spirits in the vicinity? Are there any that wish to communicate? Reaching out to you one more time, Aiken. Like I said, I mean no harm. I'm just trying to understand this property. Not just the house, but the land too. So, Aiken, you're here. I need you to let me know. Did you have to defend this place from other people during your time? Did you have to protect the older lady? What about Mr. Pyle, who built this house? I think that's all we're gonna get on this one. But the search never ends. So my third spot that I decided to do some investigating when I was checking the property and the grounds was essentially the rock wall of what is the modern, essentially encasement of the property. So I set my proximity meter up on the wall, started asking the same questions I had been asking, just trying to get a bite, get a trigger, something. The odd thing about it is not once did I get any type of solid proof, solid evidence that there may be unmarked graves beneath my feet at the time. It was just one of those things where I came to terms with I needed to investigate further, definitely with more devices, but I can't right now say yes or no the land is cursed or poisoned. It definitely needs more investigation. But that being said, I was continually drawn into the house. So upon a unsuccessful investigation outside, I then proceeded inside.
With the investigation wrapped up, the team meets to discuss their findings the next day.
So, what an eventful night we had last night. We were all around this table today because I wanted to touch base with each and every one of y'all to see what y'all experiences were. So, Jessica, let's start off by you. You were the first one in the house. What did you experience? What evidence did you get?
Well, when I came in, I was looking for evidence of Mr. Thorp. I immediately felt very curious. I wanted to enter the library. I heard that that's where Mr. Thorp spent most of his time. That is also where he died. So, I definitely wanted to get in there.
Okay.
I picked up a 6.6 degree reading on my thermal twice in there. Over by the chair where he died. It wasn't menacing. He's not a menacing spirit. He definitely, I feel that he's here. Definitely. I continued my investigation throughout the rest of the first floor. When I came into the music room, things got crazy.
Really?
Yes, I picked up the 66.6 degree on my thermal, like at least 3 times in this room consecutively. It was pretty strange, to say the least. It was really funny also. I was walking through the house, I was turning a corner, I saw a shadow.
Really?
Yes. It took me by surprise. I was startled. So I immediately wanted to go find and see if that was Mr. Thorpe, see if I could catch another glimpse of the shadow. Unfortunately, I didn't. When I went after it, it was a cat. There was a cat there. Got me good.
So,
but that was pretty funny.
So, in your summary, do you think Mr. Thorpe could possibly be this menacing spirit here?
I do not. I do not think that he is menacing. I just think that this is his home. This is where he chooses to be, and I think that he's just at peace here.
Okay. Brent, who did you investigate?
I was investigating Mr. Jim Hogg. I did a little research on him and found out that he bought this property after Pyle passed, and he had 4 children in here and his wife, and I definitely believe that he is here also. I was talking through him with the K2 meter. He was making it light up like a Christmas tree. When I started talking about his daughter in particular, I brought her up, and so I seen a picture of his son, and I was asking him about that, and I didn't do anything on the K2, and then, I started bringing up his daughter, and everything just started going in the red, just real active like, and it happened in the stairwell area and in the library also, and I really wish that I had the speaker box, so maybe I could have got like something talking back to me, but I definitely felt his presence. I definitely believe that him and Ima is both in this house.
Did you feel anything menacing at all with their presence?
I mean, there was some stuff moving. I think a little thing like something on the ground got knocked over, and I got the chills the whole time, but no, I don't feel that.
You didn't feel
I don't feel
threatened
that
at all
or anything. I don't think that's the nuisance that's bothering this place.
Okay, that's
I felt pretty peaceful about it, and I don't know. He did a lot of good for the community and the political world and stuff like that too. So again, just like kind of what she was saying, I think they're here and they're one of the good spirits, and we don't really have anything to worry about, but they are here.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, I wish I can say my investigation in the belfry upstairs attic was as positive as y'all's. I set out to try to get in contact with David Aikens, and also Susan, the wife of O.P. Pyle. And I immediately got heavy feeling. My chest got really tight. We had bangs and knocks, and something kept on drawing me to the back right side of the attic, like it was trying to lure me into the corner. It was a very, very uneasy feeling. I did burst EVP sessions, and I asked, is there anybody here, and is it okay that I'm in your space to ask you these questions? And very faintly I got a no. I'm gonna review that and try to clear up that EVP, plus listen to additional EVPs, but at that moment I felt the fight or flight fear that I needed to get out of the attic. And I never made it back up there last night, and there will be further investigation later down the road. But yeah, there is definitely something menacing up there, and then that I still cannot get the answer to. So, Dusty, you walked the land and you investigated the land. What were your findings?
I will say I felt something the minute we got here. And surprisingly, it had nothing to do with nature, it had to do with the house. The minute I got here, for some reason I was drawn to go up to the attic. Just go up to the attic. But as far as the land goes, I took out a proximity reader and walked the property. Didn't really get much evidence-wise, but I could definitely feel a lot out there. Nothing negative, but I could just feel, I don't know, there's just a lot of vibrations going on out there. But oddly enough, we come back, we start breaking down. I had separated myself from the rest of the crew at the time. I was just, getting our equipment situated. And I just had an itch to keep investigating, so I hooked up one of the thermal cams. And you mentioned 66.6 degrees.
I did.
In that room.
Mm.
Yeah. So not only that throws me off, because what I discovered with that thermal cam is over my shoulder, beside that piano, my back is turned to a portal right now that I believe is possibly a potential gateway for some of these spirits, maybe the not so good one or two that may be doing their thing. I've also had my phone go off. I'm honestly starting to feel like something or someone might be trying to communicate with me through music, because I'm a musician. And short and skinny of it is, I'm drawn to the attic. In this moment, I'm drawn to the attic. I'm drawn to the vortex right over my shoulder right now. But my investigation has come to an end for this one. But I do think there's something not so good. And I think there's a lot more going on than just your run-of-the-mill ghost.
Do you think it's from tainted land, or disturbed spirits?
I didn't pick anything up in that regard physically, any sensations, nothing like that. So I don't know if there's any truth to the unmarked grave cemetery bit. I'm not saying no, but just based on my investigation, I found more stuff inside than out.
Okay.
With Thorp, Jim Hogg, and Sergeant J.H. Randall being ruled out as being the rotten one, and other spirits being ruled as good in nature, was it possible that the entity in question kept a low profile the night of the investigation, with Jessica and Dusty getting 66.6 on the thermal meter in the music room, and Dusty seeing a vortex on the thermal camera? Is it possible that the entity is demonic? The rotten one, an entity so evil that it can avoid detection by pretending to be another spirit entirely, has thus far escaped from being unmasked. For who or what the entity is still left open for others to decide. One thing that is known is that the rotten one is definitely calling itself the boss man of the OP Pyle House.